Loki season 2 thoughts. The show was bananas. This first episode was bananas. After the catastrophe that was Secret Invasion, I was like, Loki, please don't mess it up. And you know what? They didn't. This first episode reminded me of John Wick. Now, when I refer to John Wick, I'm speaking about the pace. It was a very, very fast-paced episode. I felt there was less dialogue, more action. Everything was equally balanced. If you know what I'm trying to say, yo. The episode picks up straight away from the last season. Loki's running away. He's like, Mobius, do you know who I am? He's like, I don't know who you are. We find out basically that Loki is time slipping. He's time slipping from the past, present, to the future. We find out that OB initially knows what he's actually going through, which is of course the time slipping. But he's like, how are you doing this? It's not possible for you to time slip in the TVA. We also find Loki when he shifts to the current present. He shows them basically who's running the show, and that's of course Kang the Conqueror. And he says to Mobius, pretty much, he's wiped your memories. And Mobius is like, how do you know about Kang? Because I was there in the past. So what we saw was Loki in the past, in that particular element. So what transpired at that particular moment for all of their memories to be wiped, the statue of Kang wasn't there anymore, and in regards to what was happening right now in the present, that's another question. But it was beautifully well done. The action, the comedy. What I find about Loki is it's the Loki series. It's not a typical MCU series. It's not the typical comedy and so forth, light-hearted energy. Like, it has a bit of comedy, but it's very mental to a degree. It has a darkish tone to it. So it's a different vibe from the MCU. And the one thing about Loki is, like, even though I'm loving this episode, because it was a sick episode, 5 out of 5. It doesn't feel like Loki because we're used to seeing Loki, of course, in the MCU with Thor and everything else. So it's kind of different to see him in this particular context. But overall, man, I mean, I really, really loved it. I loved the episode. I was like, it was dope. The bit when he was speaking to Mobius about, he goes, what's happening to me? And then he's with Mobius. And, he's, when he goes to see Obi with Mobius. And initially, they find out what's happening to him, and he's like, this can't happen. It's not allowed to happen in the TVA. It's not supposed to happen. And then initially, we see Loki traveling to the past, speaking to OB, and then initially, OB in the present initially remembers what he's saying because they're having the conversation in the past, and the past becomes the present, and the past becomes the future, and the future becomes the present. That was so dope. They really went into the elements of time in such a particular way where it kind of confused you to a degree, because anytime you mention time travel in comic books, in movies, or whatever it might be, it always messes with the individual's head. But from seeing this, it was very interesting how they took it to another frequency, which I really, really loved and adored, man. I love this episode. If they keep it like this throughout the whole series will be dope. Because this is the show that initially pops open the multiverse and pretty much gives you the prelude, the introduction to what's going to happen in Secret Wars. And we haven't even seen Kang yet. And the episode has been bananas. It was a bananas episode in a good way. I really, really loved it. But I loved the pace of it. The pace of it was just sick. I haven't seen I think the last time I saw a Marvel movie or a project that was fast paced, for me personally, I felt like Shang-Chi was a very fast paced movie. But this series, it's got me hooked. I don't think any of apart from WandaVision, I don't think I've seen a Marvel Disney Plus series so far that's given me this much exhilaration. Like, wow, like what's going on? Like, you're asking so many questions. And the one question that I'm asking myself is, initially, who pruned him? Was it Sylvie that pruned him? Then he came back and saved Mobius. Why was the phone ringing? How did she know he was there? You know what I'm saying? So when you go into time travel, it's kind of mad and sick. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I haven't been this excited, as you can see, consuming a Marvel project for a movie and series for a very, very, very long time. So I'm excited to see what they do with Loki, and I'm excited to see what happens to Loki at the end of this particular series. Does he go back? Does he go back to the MCU? Is there Loki season 3? Do we need a Loki season 3? But to see everything expanding, to see the timelines expanding, it was dope. It was super, super, super dope. I look forward to seeing what the TVA is going to become now, basically based upon the evolution of it all. Now they're not pruning basically people, they're saving people, if you know what I mean. So it's quite interesting to transpire and see what's really happening. And the post-credit scene was kind of nuts. She goes back to 1982, Sylvie. Very interesting, 1982. But overall, people, I really enjoyed it. I was excited, I was happy. It was a well put together episode, and I really, really, really enjoyed it. It was well. I love the pace. The dude that plays Obi, he's my guy. He's a serious guy. And if he's the guy that's invented every type of technology, I wonder if he's the one that possibly invented Shang-Chi's the rings, Miss Marvel's bangles and whatnot. Or did he work with Kang and actually creating the technology for the TVA, but his memory's been wiped also. But what's really interesting is, if his memory has been wiped to a degree, then how does he remember Mobius, but Mobius does not remember him? Because if they're in the same timeline, and he said that Mobius went to see him, was it 400 years ago in the past? Then initially, why does OB remember him? Why does OB remember? And why doesn't Mobius remember? Unless potentially OB is potentially working for Kang, so his memory is intact. He could be Kang's right-hand man, and he's playing dumb. You just don't know. But overall, so many questions, so many answers. I look forward to next week, Wednesday, I believe, for episode 2. Bring it on, Loki. But that's my thoughts. I really, really loved it. I thought it was well put together. The story, the intensity, the comedy, the humor. Seeing what Loki's going through, what he went through. And just the whole show was really, really cool. I really, really enjoyed it. What are your thoughts? See you in the comments down below.